Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, Diana and the Book Hunt. Thank you so much for joining me today and doing my November wrap-up video. I feel really good today. I have my friend here, the beautiful owl who is keeping me warm. It's December, holiday season. I have a very beautiful cup of holiday tea that I'm drinking. I have my friend Rudolph here who is keeping me company, and I'm really getting into the festive season, so I feel absolutely wonderful. I do have to say that my hair isn't cooperating today. That is the only kind of setback that I have for today, but I'm not going to let it ruin my mood. And yeah, we're going to go ahead and discuss some books that I read for the month of November. I'm not going to be doing a full synopsis of everything that I read because I did have a video recently which came out discussing 6 of the books, and I'm going to go ahead and link it down below. Of course, it's the holiday themed books that I read, and I'm simply going to focus on the books that I didn't discuss in the previous video that I have read in the month of November. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at the books that I read. I'll tell you what I thought about them. I'll give you a short synopsis, and I'll of course give you also my rating for them. Before we go ahead and dive into all of the books we're going to discuss today, I've thought of a fun way to let you get to know me a little bit, but in a bookish content. So what I've done is I've grabbed a bowl and I filled it with all types of would you rather questions, all surrounding the bookish content. What I'll do is each start of a video, I'm going to go ahead and pick one. I just did so, and let's open it. Would you rather not be able to buy any new books until you finished all the ones on your shelf, or I've cut it out? I don't know what it says. Okay, we'll do a redo. Bear with me a second. It's not very professional of me, I'm sorry. Let's just pick another one. I grab the long one. Let's see what it says. Would you rather read only physical books or audiobooks? This is really interesting. I have just recently started reading audiobooks. Actually, as of this year, I've started reading audiobooks. I've always been a skeptic towards different types of media that are not physical books. And I decided this year to give them a try, and I've been hooked. I've been reading a lot of audiobooks lately, but I do have to say nothing beats a physical copy. The smell of it, the feel of it, and the fact that you can annotate, and that you can really go back to reading the same sentence 5 times if it's something that really struck you as beautiful or impressive, or leave some kind of emotion behind. With audiobooks, you don't get the same feel. So I do have to say audiobooks really help to read maybe faster and more books at a time, but they are definitely not in the same category as physical books. I would always prefer a physical book over an audiobook. Now that we've done my first Would You Rather challenge for this video, we're going to go ahead and dive into the books that I read in the month of November. Let me just first tell you that it was quite a good reading month for me. I typically read between 8 and 10 books each month, and this month I was able to read 12. This is because I read a short novella and also a short collection of poetry, and still, I'm proud of myself. I read 12 books. It's quite a good number. I cannot deny that I'm happy about it. And I'm also happy that I have cause for celebration. I was able to finish my Goodreads challenge for this year. I met my goal of 80 books, and I didn't think that I would make it, to be quite frank with you, because in the summer I had the biggest slump ever. The whole month of August, I think I just didn't read at all, and I was quite yeah, demotivated, if I have to say so. And it's not like I really tend to push myself to finish this challenge. It's a bit of a reminder to try to read more. I typically will be thinking more about the TBR that I have on Goodreads, that I want to finish all the books that I marked as book wishes for myself. I really consider them book wishes because if I add them to my TBR, I really, really want to read those books. So that is really my biggest motivator. It's not the challenge itself. However, 80 books is really amazing for myself to have completed this number of books within a year, and the year is not even over, so I'm really happy about having met that specific target of mine. And last but not least, I have to say the New Year's resolutions of this year. I don't know about yourselves. I wasn't able to lose any weight. I wasn't able to do a lot of things that I was supposed to be doing, but I at least completed my Goodreads challenge. So I do have to say that I'm proud of myself about that. Let's get back to the books that we're going to talk about today. I'm just going to mention the first 6 books because those are the ones which are already included in my previous video, which I'll link down below. Those are the holiday themed books that I reviewed for you in my previous video. I'll mention their titles, the author, and the rating that I gave them, and you can go ahead and take a look at my video if you want more content about those books. And then we're going to go ahead and discuss the other 6 books that I read this month. The holiday themed books that I read are, the first one is by Christina Lauren. In Holidaze, I gave it 3.5 stars, and I do recommend that you pick it up. It's quite a fun read. The second one is The Christmas Bookshop by Jenny Colgan. That one was not my cup of tea. I would recommend that you go onto Goodreads and take a look at the reviews and take a look at the synopsis to check whether it's something that you might be interested in. It just wasn't my thing. The third book that I read is by far my most favorite read out of the holiday reads that I read. It's The Holiday X-Files by Jennifer Peel. That one I gave 5 stars to. It fully deserves it. It left me just feeling so positive and so enamored with the characters and involved with the story. I was absolutely just excited about that book, so I do recommend it. The fourth book is The Christmas Wedding Guest by Susan Mallery. That one I gave 3 stars to. It's a fun read. It's a quick read. You can go ahead and take a look whether it's going to be for you. It's not very memorable if you ask me, but who knows, maybe it's something that you might like. The fifth book that I read is Duke Actually by, what's her name? Jenny Holiday, I think. This book is the second book out of a series, so I do recommend that you read them in order. I didn't do so. I didn't get the full enjoyment out of it because I didn't read the first book, so please go ahead and pick up the first book before you read this one if you want to pick it up. I gave it 3 stars. And the last one is A Catalina Cove Christmas by Brenda Jackson. This one is the novella I was talking about. It's quite short, quick, fun read, steamy. It just works really well for a novella. It was top notch, and I gave it 4 stars, so go ahead and pick it up. It's absolutely worth your time. Now let's go into the 6 other books that I read in the month of November. The first book I'm going to talk about is the short collection of poems that I read. It's by a Bulgarian author. His name is Konstantin Trendafilov, and the collection is called За кого се сещаш, когато се сещаш за някого, which translated is who do you think of when you think of someone. I have to say I wasn't a fan. I mean, I don't typically read a lot of poetry, but I like this author a lot, so I wanted to pick up something of his to check out his writing style. I was not impressed. I gave this book 2 stars out of the whole selection of poems. I only liked 2, and liked is a bit of a strong word. I vibed with them, but it was not wow in my opinion. So yeah, this was a bit of a miss for me, so I didn't rate it too high. I will check out his novel. I actually have it somewhere here. which is called Zatvori Srce. This is translated Close Your Heart. And I'll probably read it next year to check out his novel and whether his writing style does appeal to me. The second book that I read is The Atlas 6, which I am absolutely enamored with. I mean, that book is just so good. It took me literally maybe 24 hours to get through with it. It's by Olivie Blake. Olivie Blake. I don't know how you pronounce her name. And it's an independently published book, but I think it got picked up to be published traditionally next year, and then her second book will follow up on that one. So the Atlas 6 is about the Alexandrian society, a society of magicians who are there to take care of the what is presumably the lost Alexandrian library and the knowledge that is stored within it. The book is about 6 magicians, the best magicians in the world, who are invited into the society to try to get into it. They have like an ear trial that they need to do, and a bit of a competition between each other, because only 5 of them will actually enter the society. There are 6 magicians with completely different styles of magic, with the exception of 2 of them who have similar style magic that they perform. And I'm absolutely raving about this book. I know that it has some traction on Book Talk. Let me just open up a bit of a side narrative here. I'm not on Book Talk. I'm very intimidated by TikTok at the moment. I only have an Instagram account which relates to the bookish content and this YouTube channel, but Book Talk is a bit too intimidating for me. But I do hear from other YouTubers that it has gotten some traction on Book Talk, and it totally deserves it. I mean, not everything that is marketed on Book Talk is always worth the hype, but this one especially is. I rated it 4.5 stars, and I can't wait for the second book to come out, because it did end in a bit of an open ending. And I'm totally invested in all of the characters. I'm totally invested in the story, in the magic, in the way that the book is described, the world that it's described in. It's essentially contemporary world. It's not very magical, but the magic itself is just really impressive. So if you like this type of book where it's set in the contemporary world, but it does have magic in it, I definitely recommend that you pick this one up. Another book that I read in the month of November is Bad Intentions by Ella Frank. The book is an M&M. Do you call it M&M? Or is it MM? Okay, so it's a male and male romance between Gabe and Marcus. Gabe is the personal assistant for like a famous lawyer in Chicago, while Marcus is the president of a news network. Gabe is invited to the Christmas party at the news network where Marcus works, so that's where they meet. And the interesting part about the story is that Gabe is uncomfortable meeting Marcus as just a personal assistant of so-and-so, so he presents himself as being his boss. So actually he lies about his identity. Now this creates 4 awkward, funny, witty, suspenseful situations between the two, and that is why it's so fast-paced. The plot is so fast-paced, and I like that. The spice was just amazing, and that basically led me to give it 4 stars. I think that there is a second book which will come out, and I'm going to pick that one up as well because I really enjoyed this one. And yeah, pick it up. I would advise that you pick it up, especially if you're interested in reading M&M or MM romance. Just tell me how you say it, please. The next 2 books I'm going to talk about are by the same author, Alexis Daria. The first one is You Had Me at Hola. The second one is a lot like Adios. They're companion novels. And I love both of them. I'm going to tell you a bit about Hola first. That one is about Jasmine, who is a soap opera star. She has been involved in a recent scandal about her recent breakup, and she really wants to move past this scandal because she has been contracted to do a new project for a Netflix style platform, and she really wants to make a name for herself. That's why she wants to focus on this project solely. She doesn't want to think about love, ex-boyfriends, or anything surrounding that topic. She really wants to focus on her work. Her love interest in the book is Ashton, who is her co-star. He's a telenovela star who wants to make a name for himself as well, but he really wants to break out of the stereotype of a telenovela star. So he is a bit distant and a bit standoffish. He's really private, and this is intriguing to Jasmine, to be very honest. And when you read through the story, you notice that there is chemistry between them. You see that their love is almost inevitable basically within the story. But the nice thing about the book, especially the audiobook, is that you have two types of chapters within the book. The first one is like the present story where they have their present interactions, and the second one is the story of their characters that they're filming for the project that they're doing. And you see the progression of the love between Jasmine and Ashton, but you also see the progression of the development of their fictional characters of the project that they're doing. This was just done so well. I was so excited about both of the plots within the book, and I absolutely loved it. I gave this 4 stars. It was absolutely fun to read, and I couldn't wait to pick up the second one. The second one is a lot like Adios, and this one revolves around Jasmine's cousin Michelle and her first love, actually he was her best friend before he became her first love, her first crush. And something happened in the past that drove them apart, and they haven't seen each other in many years, and this is their second chance at a romance together. Michelle is a freelance marketing expert, while Gabe has his own gym. His gym is located in Los Angeles, and he needs to venture out to a new location in New York. That's where he enlists, in a very fun way, he enlists Michelle's help, and they meet, and Michelle really is very keen to get to know why they were driven apart in the first place. So she thinks of a plan of how to get him in close proximity to her for his whole trip to New York. And yeah, it was just such a wonderful story. I mean, the close proximity, the second chance romance, the friends to lovers trope within the book, everything just pulled right at the right heartstrings of mine, and I was absolutely enamored with the characters and the plot. I gave this 4.5 stars. It was definitely my favorite out of the 2, but I do recommend that you pick up both of them. The last book that I read in the month of November is To the Moon by K.K. Allen. I didn't necessarily love this book. I mean, I have some thoughts on it. Let me just tell you what it's about first, and then I'll tell you my thoughts. The book is about Silver, who has a bit of a traumatic past. You get to know her story when she was younger, what she went through, and then you have the present a plot where she is the nurse working at a children's camp. The love interest in the story is Kingston, who is a very famous football player for Seattle Football Club. He's like the stereotypical bad boy football player who does the partying, women, alcohol, everything you can think of within that stereotype, he does it. And he gets into trouble at one of his late night escapades. His coach decides to send him to volunteer at this camp so he can kind of redeem himself and think about his wrongdoings, and that's where he meets Silver. Now, the reaction of the two of them meeting each other is very funny because he obviously is attracted to her. He really wants to get to know her already from the start, while she already from the start notices that he's very privileged, that he's very cocky and arrogant and just totally not her type of person. So that creates for a bit of a fun and witty plot development. However, yeah, there are two issues that I have within this book. The first one, I really disliked Kingston. He was very pretentious, privileged, arrogant, and just even when he got involved with Silver and started to be more like a soft type of man, he still was very, very, yeah, obnoxious to me. I just didn't like him. And the second thing that really didn't work for me is the insta-love within the plot. I mean, is it just me, or is it just not really realistic and normal and healthy to have people fall in love within 2 weeks, declare themselves soulmates, and think about marriage, kids, and just mapping out their whole future together? I mean, I get that that happens for some people, but I've read just so many books with this type of concept. It just does not work for me. It feels very, very unrealistic, just very, very pushed upon the reader already from the start that those persons are meant to be together or soulmates and blah, blah, blah. I just can't get on board with such a concept. It almost never works out well for me. So the enjoyment of the book was trashed already from like 30 or 40% within the book. So yeah, I gave this book 3 stars. I think that if you like insta-love, it will probably be a very enjoyable read for you. It just really didn't work out for me. With that being said, we've come to an end to this wrap-up video for the month of November. Thank you so much for being with me today. Leave a comment down below with any reads that you may want to recommend to me, with any videos that you want to see from me, anything that might interest me and you together. Just leave it in the comment box below. I have some videos planned out for the next couple of weeks, so bear with me. I'll be uploading in a short while as well. I know that December is quite a busy month for most of the booktubers. I'm absolutely following every one of them. I mean, they have such wonderful content, and whenever I have the chance, I'll link down a couple of them below so you can start following them as well. I do wish you a very, very wonderful holiday month. Take care of yourself and your families and have a very wonderful day. Happy reading. Bye-bye.